So I wanted to make this video to go over a couple warm-up drills that I think you guys should be doing before every session and even on recovery days. So I've had a couple conversations with people on the team throughout the past couple weeks, and a lot of the cues and movements that I'm coaching when I'm doing video reviews, they kind of go back to some concepts that I think need to be practiced at a lighter weight, so starting with just the bar, and also practiced at slower speeds and with pauses. And so a lot of times we can work on technique while we're lifting, but the technique work needs to start with the warm-up, with what we're doing with the barbell. So if the technique work starts with the barbell, we can carry it through the entire session. Not only do we get more reps in, but we can make the changes and we can be conscious of what we're doing when it's just the barbell. We can be more conscious of our movement when it's just the barbell. When we start loading weight on and as the percentage increases, then the mind has to turn off a little bit. Weightlifting is a sport that can quickly turn into paralysis by analysis. So we don't want to think too much about our movement. We want one or two cues in our head when the weight gets heavier. But as we're warming up and starting our session, we might be able to work on several different things because the weight's light and we're taking our time. So one of the main points that I want to go over today, and I believe should be done daily, this is warming up before you're snatching and clean and jerking, and also just 10 to 15 minutes of bar work. I've talked on that a ton, the importance of bar work even on off days. So one of the first things is working on contact point in the hips in the snatch, and then the knee to hip transition. So the positioning of the barbell from the knee to the hip. So I'm going to focus on those things today. So one thing I like to start out with is contact point. Bar in the hip crease, okay? If you squat and bend down, hip crease, get your arms out to where they're straight. My arms are pretty long, so I go all the way to the sleeves, but that's your snatch grip right there. So bars in the hip crease. I like to work on some high pulls. So I'll get that bar in my hip crease, I'll pull up, I'll work on my elbows above the bar. Every time, returning that bar to the hip crease, extend with the legs, pull up. Bar to the hip crease, extend with the legs, pull up. So I'm working on that movement. I'm feeling my knuckles turn down, and I'm feeling my elbows up over the bar and my legs pushing up. Vertical, 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 okay? After that, and you can even do some muscle snatches if you want to work on the turnover from that. Muscle snatches, all from the hip. Power snatches from the hip. Okay, all that can be done from the hip. Then we're going to work on hip to knee, knee to hip transition. Slight bend in the knees, this is our contact point, we're balanced. This is where we want to get to off the floor, off the blocks, off the hang, from the hang, whatever we're doing that day, this is what we want to get to. So, hip position, slowly go to the knee or above the knee. Slide the bar down your thighs. It's in contact with your body the whole time. Now, is that going to happen when you actually snatch? You can tell I'm out of breath already. Is that going to happen when you actually snatch? No. But we're working on that concept. My arms are long, my elbows are turned in, my back is set tight, there's tension in my lats. I'm pausing in this position. Shins are vertical, feet are flat. This is the position I want to be in. Slowly transition to the hip. Slide the bar, knuckles down. Lats, sweeping the bar into the hip. Slide the bar along. After I've done that a couple times, sliding the bar up my thighs, I can do some high pulls. Like that. I can work flat-footed. I can come up on my toes. I can do some muscle snatches. I can do some power snatches. Slide down. Push the hips back, shins vertical, shoulders over the bar. I'm pushing with my legs up to get to the hip. Do a slow up the thigh. Do a power snatch. Okay? Work those drills. Work that transition. Slow. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Slow. I'm sliding the bar on my thighs. Work some high pulls. Work some muscles. Work some powers. I like to go in that order from the hip. I like to work the transition, and then I like to go in that order from above the knee. So give that a shot. You can tell just a couple minutes of bar work 2-3 minutes on the bar, take a drink of water, reset yourself, come back 2 or 3 minutes on the bar. Do that for 2 to 4 times. That's a 5 to 8 minute warm up, and you're gonna be ready to go. Work in some overhead squats, work in some, snatch balances, press behind the neck, get the shoulders loose, get the bottom position warmed up in the snatch as well. And that's really gonna help. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that will help you guys work on some of those cues of keeping the bar close, keeping the shoulders over the bar. What does that feel like? Go slow, pause in different positions so you can feel it, and work that into your warm-up routine on a daily basis. And I guarantee it's gonna help your technique, so give it a try.